Hello everyone, welcome back to Living Life Dial Style. It's Alan and Michelle again. Today we got we're going to change the sand out in our little sand filter. This is a Bestway pool from Sam's Wholesale Club, and we like $2.99 or $3.99 is what we paid for it. You can see right here I've added a skimmer onto it because without a skimmer it's almost impossible to keep one of these pools clean. And what I'm experiencing right now is I'm not 100% sure that it's the sand, but my sand's a year old, but this thing is tiny. I mean, it doesn't hold 10 pounds of sand, 10 or 15 pounds of sand. It's very tiny, so it doesn't have a great capacity. And we've got all these oak thingies, proms, whatever you call them, worms. It's the little things that come off these oak trees. And these little things right here, see them? See these? Those little things right there? Those things are nasty. But what's happening is I'll backwash my pump and it won't be an hour and the pump will be already needing to be backwashed again. So I'm not sure exactly what's going on. So I figure as easy as this is going to be, I'm just going to go ahead and change the sand to see if that's what it is. Now what I've got to do here is I put a valve on this. I'm gonna have to turn this valve off right here. Now, when I go to do the sand, this is not gonna be like, this video is not gonna be like if you've got one of them gigantic pumps, because this thing is very light. I can pick it up and go take it and dump the sand out of it. So I'm not gonna have to vacuum the sand out or anything. I was looking for a video on this little pump, and I couldn't find one. I guess most people use those little poly balls, but I don't like those. I didn't want to use them. The sand has done me very well, very well. But what I've got to do is I got to climb under here and cut this little valve off. Michelle, you get up and show the camera under here. Show them what I'm doing. Look right here. You see under here. Oops, sorry, too much of me. Okay, see this little thing here? This has a turn-off valve on it. Okay, I've turned that off now. Okay, now let's back up. What that's going to do is stop the water from the pool from coming back in. All right, I've got this one here. It's my little backwash hose. I just have a little hose hooked to it. So we'll undo this one. We'll undo this one. Let me move this over. Now, down at the bottom here, there is a drain hole for the filter. Look at this. And there's nothing, very little coming out. Let me see. I don't know. I'll have to look at that in a minute. All right, I'm going to take the one that's going to the pool right there. Hey, look at this. Show this right here. Be very careful. You see these little gaskets? Got to hold on to those gaskets. Don't let those gaskets come out. There's one in each one of these hoses. I'm going to take this one loose. Okay, now see, get the little gasket out of here. Now see, on mine, I can actually lift the sand filter up out of here because it's so light. And what I'm going to do is, let me move it right out here. I'll sit it right out here. All right. All right, remember you got these Phillips head screws over here that hold the actual thing down. I'm not sure if the screwdriver's too big. Uh-oh, hang on. No, this Phillips head's too big. Okay, let's walk around to the patio. All right, we're back. We'll take the Phillips head right here. Loosen this up. Remember, there's a little nut on the back side here, and this nut will fall out, and you will lose it if you're not careful. Got to have it. Now, obviously, I could probably go somewhere and get one if I needed it, but I'd rather not lose it. All right, take that out. Okay, let me set these right there on top of that chlorine box. All right, let's turn it around. We got another one right here. And maybe I should have loosened them a little bit at a time each, but I'll do that when I put it back on. Sometimes that thing don't want to go on the screw. There it is. That water's starting to drip out of there now. All right, I'm gonna see if I can actually do this without taking that screw all the way off. Okay, yes, I did. All right, let's lift this up. See what happens here. But, oh, here we go.
Ooh.
Okay, look at all that in there. Look at all that. I knew I had something going on. I think I'm gonna have to take the screws out of that. But the sand's down in here. It's full of water. Let me try to watch out. I'm gonna pour some of this water out. Ooh, gross.
That is nasty.
Gross. All right, hold on. I'm gonna pour the sand right here because I can just spread it around in my yard. Let's pour the sand out. It's probably easy to pour the sand out too when you've got some water in here. Absolutely, yes. Okay, there's the. Okay. Now, see, I might have found what my problem is, y'all. My problem might be right here. Let's take this off here and see. Let me turn the water hose on so I can wipe my hands off. I got sand everywhere now. Whoops. All right, guys, let me wash this out. Let's wash this out. All right. All right. The sand's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. I think I figured out my problem. It's all those little things, those little froms or whatever they are. All right, this is still in good condition. Okay, do not want any sand in that. All right, I'm gonna set that right there for now. All right, let's take this head apart and see what we got going on right here. Move some of my junk. Okay, got us some 4 little Phillips head screws. Let's see, because something hadn't been right. I could tell, like the pressure. I mean, it just hasn't been lasting like it was supposed to. And I think I see what it is now. Did you get a close up on this? You see how dirty it is? Mm-hmm. So there's probably even more on the back side. Let's look at it and see. All right. Let's see. There it comes. Oh, okay, yeah, look at that. See all that junk? It's been clogging it up. All right, and you know what I noticed too? I noticed that when I turned my selector to X, I noticed that it was still letting a little water flow in, and I've got a feeling it's got something to do with that. Let's wash this thing out. Let's wash this out. Okay. Put this on. Okay, guys. All right, I think I got that washed off pretty good. Yep. Okay, let's wash that other thing off now. I see now what my problem was, which it's not going to hurt me to change the sand. I mean, no big deal. Let me bring this over here and wash it out. Wow, dirty. I mean, for a year, I've ran this thing straight 24/7 for a year. I have not cut it off once, except when the electricity goes off. And then I have to reset the GFCI. Yeah, this is what it was right here. All right, so got that nice and clean. See that? Good and clean. All right, let's put it back on. Notice it's got a little tang right there. That's gonna be where it goes back in right here. See it right here? Little tang right there. That's how you know it goes back. They pretty much dummy proof this stuff. All right, let's put these 4 screws back in. Yeah, this is looking a lot better here now. Because usually, man, I wouldn't have to backwash, but man, maybe once or twice, once a week maybe, you know. Unless, you know, like when the pollen started falling, I would have to backwash it a little more regular then, and that water would be yellow coming out of the backwash. Okay. Now, let's see where we're at here. Get this last 2 screws in. Okay, last screw. And I didn't really, I just snugged these down. This is all plastic, so you don't want to go crazy with this. This stuff will break. Okay. All right, now, I don't know if you guys remember seeing this. If you got a Bestway pool, and with any pump, this comes with it. You hold on to this because this is going to go right here. Let me show you. Let's get this. All right, we're going to put this thing right here. This is basically your little, it ain't got fingers on it like a bigger pump, but you set that down in the middle like that. And then look at here, you put this right over the top of it. See that? And now while I pour my sand in, this is going to stay, this is going to keep the sand from getting down in my tube right there. Let me grab my sand. All right, I'm gonna set the sand down here. Let me grab I'm gonna get a bucket. It's easier to pour that sand in. I'm coming. All right, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna wipe the inside of this bucket out. It's not super dirty, but can't have enough buckets laying around, guys. All right, now let's pour some sand in this. Now see, again, look how small it is. This thing does not take very much sand. Look at this, they actually, looks like they have let's see. I think this is like a little pour spout. Yep, that's what that is. And you know what? I might pour it right in out of the bag. Now, one good thing, I think my sand is not wet. if you got wet sand, it's gonna make this a lot harder. Yeah, see how dry my sand is? Look at that, I would be pouring it all in there. And see, I'll have enough to do this again. Get close now, let me see. A little bit more. Okay, that's about it right there. You don't fill it all the way up. About 3/4. All right, now see what I did? Now I've got, let's set this up here on the table. Now I take this off of here and I have no sand on here and it didn't go down in the bottom. So this is not too awfully hard. Now some people say to put some kind of a lubricant on this right here, but I don't have anything handy. I was gonna put a little Vaseline on it. I do have some, hold on. Vaseline. All I'm gonna do is just moisten it. And this will just help it get a good seal, and it'll slide on easier probably. Now again, if you have a big sand filter, a really big one that holds like two or three of these bags, that's like 50 pounds. Some of them sand filters hold like 250 pounds of sand. And if you've got one of those, your only option when you do it is to get a wet dry vac and have your wet filter on, and then you're just gonna have to suck that sand out of there. And I thought about stepping up and buying going ahead and buying a, let me wipe this edge off real quick. Just want to make sure you ain't got any sand on this edge here. Okay, it's pretty doggone clean. It's looking good. Okay. All right, let me see how I had this. Okay, I had it like this. All right, see, I just put it down over my pipe. And look, see, good thing about this is when you let me get my piece. Whenever I'm trying to do something and I try to talk, I just forget about what I'm saying. Okay, we left. No, I got it here. Yeah, okay, here it is. I thought I lost my piece. When the effect of tightening this down is what pulls this tight. Okay, so let me go ahead and start this other screw. And then, okay, it doesn't matter which side that the screw goes in. It's squared off in there so that you don't have to, once you start tightening it down, it'll hold itself, the nut. What I want to do is, before I tighten this down, guys, we're going to run back over and I'm going to set it down, and I'm going to make sure that I've got the head turned the way I want it to, because I think the bottom has some kind, the bottom's got a little, if you look at the bottom right there, it's got a little thing there where it's got to set a certain way. Come on, let's go back. The bottom of that had a little thing and it sets in a slot, and that's just to keep it from turning. I'm going to put my little cup back on here to hold the water in. Now, what would be a good idea? Here would be a good idea. Most of your pumps, most of your sand filters have a thing down here, obviously, that you can let the water out. If you can open it up and wait for about 30 minutes to an hour and give the water time to drain out, might make it a little easier. All right, now here's the tricky part. You want to make sure when you're putting this back on that you remember which way you took it off, and that might be a situation where you might want to mark it. Now, mine's pretty simple. I'm not really going to have to mark mine. Now, what I'm going to do is this is the side I took all the way off. I'm going to tighten it down until it's about the same as the other side. And then I'm gonna tighten the other side a little bit. We're gonna do it equally in equal increments so that you're not just banging it down on one side. That way it doesn't get pinched or caught or anything like that. Okay, I got that one done. Let's move that over here. Tightening the bolts down on this ring here. And this don't have to be like, you know, you don't want to tighten it up so much that you break something. Remember, all this stuff is plastic. All right, so what I'm gonna do is tighten this one over here a little more than this one. And I'm gonna go back to that one and snug it down a little bit. And we'll get her going again. See what kind of, my pressure was at 10 PSI when it needed to backwash. And it was at 8 after I backwashed it. So I guess we're gonna see what it is now that I cleaned out that little part on the top of the head. All right, let's get close. Okay, and obviously that filter keeps stuff from getting up into the actual head, I guess. I don't know. Well, no, I don't know. That's not true, because all right, let's see. All right, we're gonna bring this up now. I do want to hard pipe this, but I was thinking about it. I may just wait unless if I upgrade. But see, I only paid like $300 and something for this pool, so I'm not going to spend a fortune on this pool, because I'm looking to get you know, 3 or 4 or 5 years out of this pool. And when I do, I built this wall for a 24 footer. This is just an 18. I'm going to buy a new 24 footer with a hard wall, and I'll have a big pump for that. But for now, I just decided to go ahead and just go this route, because it cost me an arm and a leg to do this retaining wall. My ground was out about 2 foot. It was about 2 foot off. All right, again, I put my little my black washer in. All right, I'm gonna tighten this. I'm trying to. No, I'm on crooked. I'll be careful not to get it on crooked. All right, come on now. Work with daddy. Okay, there we go. Make sure you don't get it cross-threaded, man. You don't need those problems. And just give her a good snug down with your hand. Good snug. Snug down with your hand, and then look right here. Now this has worked out real good for me, this putting my hose on this. I had a pool years ago. I had an 18, and I had a big pump and a big filter, and I had a doggone, I think, 1.5 inch line coming off of the backwash, and man, that thing will drain your pool in minutes. And this right here kind of reduces the flow a little bit, and you don't lose quite as much water on the backwash, and you still accomplish the task. All right, put this little rubber gasket back in here. And again, this filter is so small. You know, this filter's not, I mean, this thing's not going to do like a 250, 275 pound sand filter. This one here, I mean, I'm very pleased with it, as much as I've used it for the last year. Okay, I'm gonna go over here now and turn this valve back on, let the water come back in, and we'll start it up. All right. Let's see. There it comes. There it comes. All right, yep, it's coming. I hear the water bubbling. Okay, remember now, I cut off this valve here. So we got to cut this back on. And we let the water flood in here for a minute. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off on the backwash. We're gonna start off on backwash, and here we go, I'm gonna backwash. I'm still hearing some water run. Let me wait a second. It's filling up into the sand filter. Give it just a second. Okay, it has stopped running. Let's backwash. See what happens. That's going to get all the sand settled down and everything, and then when I rinse and turn it back on filter, it'll be good to go. And I think that's going to solve my problem, which I think my sand was okay, but again, it's not going to hurt to change it. It was a year old. They say you can get 3 to 5 years, but again, with the heads that you get on a Hayward or something like that, one of these heads, I don't know that theirs will clog up like mine did right here. But anyway, maybe this will help somebody else that has a Bestway. All right, I'm not going to do a whole lot. I'm not going to backwash a whole lot. I'm just going to do it for about a minute. Okay, let's go to rinse. Ooh. Right here, this is the best money you can spend on an above ground pool. Get you one. I made a video on this as well, if you want to watch that, a couple of them. That's, man, this is the bomb.com. That's probably an old statement now, but you cannot keep the surface of your pool clean without one of these. It is so nice, so nice. First thing I do to any pool. All right, I'm gonna start it back on play. Let's see what happens. Okay. Okay, yeah. Yeah, we're down to around 7 pounds now. Let me look up here at the, let's look up here at the return, the inlet. Oh yeah. Yeah, she's pouring water in now. Look at that flow over there. Okay. Well, that just about wraps it up, y'all. Hope the video did you some good. Love you guys. Peace out. Till another day.